there. This is the rabbi's tale. A devout rabbi, loyal and true, come to me, I will tell you what to do. I possess good deeds and a loving personality. Tzedakah contributions are much appreciated to make my dreams a reality. My goal is to give back to the children of Yerushalayim, and then have a glass of wine, l'chaim. If you have a problem, whatever it may be, come to my office. I will offer you my services for free. No problem is too big for a bagel and lox to fix. You never know what you may find in my bag of tricks. If it pleases you, I have an assortment of yarmulkes, even a blue and white one for the season of Hanukkah. My door is always open, come when you please, except for on the Shabbos, when everyone in the synagogue leaves. Each Saturday I dress in my finest talit and preach to the congregation before they all eat. On this day we pick the strongest of men to hold and unroll the Torah again and again. The holiest of scriptures the Jewish people possess, it sits in the ark in its beautiful dress. And when the men hold this Torah, everyone holds their breath, because all the congregants know that to drop it would be like death. God forbid on the occasion that a man is to drop the Torah, he must fast for 40 days and to pass time dance the hora. The reason behind this action is to gain absolution from the greatest sins besides prostitution. So to all the sinful men who must endure this fast, I give you great props because I would never last. For I am a rabbi with very fine taste, but I possess an extremely large waist. With an appetite greater than the largest beast, I would never be able to survive without my weekly Friday night feast. I am by no means rude nor unappreciative, but rather I just like food as the initiative. The goal is not to starve, it is simply to help learn from your mistakes, not to make one stare longingly over at the plate of steaks. The reason for this cleansing is to have some quiet time and prove that there are things more important than drinking that glass of wine. Now I will tell you the story of my dear friend and the time that Shlomo needed to fast to make amends. For as I have warned, dropping the Torah comes with a price, and not eating is the only cure to one's malice. Shlomo was not a bad man by any means. He just happened to be the unlucky one to spill the beans. So listen closely and I will share with you what a rabbi such as me would advise you to do.
Nice to meet you. Maybe I'll be seated.
You may all be seated. On a bright Saturday morning at the synagogue Yisrael Shalom, as the Torah service commenced, the scripture fell to the ground on its backbone. Poor Shlomo couldn't have predicted the horror of this fall. He just stood there in shock and tried to stand tall. But on the inside, Shlomo was a wreck, and he suddenly felt that he was destined to go to heck. The rabbi of this temple tried to keep the congregation calm. He even conducted a very solemn psalm. Even still, the rabbi kept his composure and assured Shlomo that he would be fine as long as he made his closure. So it was decided that when the sun went down, Shlomo would cease from eating until he had made his round. 40 days and 40 nights he must starve himself, despite the fact that it was terrible for his health. In the eyes of the temple, he had committed a sin, but still they admired him and hoped he could win. So began his long struggle to fight the hunger. It was even worse than Yom Kippur. Surrounded by temptation, Shlomo tried to stay strong, but keeping his fast a secret from his wife felt very wrong. He was too ashamed and afraid to let her down, for dropping the Torah made him look like a weak clown. Shlomo's biggest fear was for her to find out, so he began by feeding the food to his old fat dog Scout. For a while his plan seemed to be fooling his wife, but that all changed when they went to have dinner with their friends one night. When Shlomo and his wife Rachel went to dinner at the Goldbergs for Shabbat, everyone questioned why his matzo ball soup was still hot. There was no dog or animal to save him, but he certainly couldn't risk his chance for God to save him. So he excused himself and said, "I'm really not hungry," and then went to visit the rabbi regarding his lies and sundry. It seemed as though he had been caught in a big mess, and his rabbi advised that the best thing he could do was to confess. Still, Shlomo hesitated because he didn't want Rachel to be upset, but on the other hand, he didn't want to lie and make her fret. So on that note, he went on his way home because it would not be appropriate to tell her on the phone. After sitting her down and declining her cup of tea, he began to explain why he had to stay food-free. She was shocked but more so disappointed that he hadn't come to her earlier, or rather the second this was appointed. She then consoled him and told him it's okay, and encouraged him to continue his fast if he may. So with his wife by his side, he continued his fast, much easier now to have her with him to help time pass. It was a long 40 days and 40 nights without food, but it was beneficial in the end and only comes to prove that sins come with a price, but if you stay true, only good things will come to you. And so this is the tale of Shlomo and his fight, but he survived and conquered these 40 days and nights. Could he have done it without telling the truth, though? Without knowing if his wife would be a friend or a foe? Because, as we see, honesty is key. If Shlomo did not end up telling the truth, where would he be? And so it is proved that while dropping the Torah might be a sin, nothing is worse than lying to a king.
Tradition! Because of our traditions, we've kept our balance for many, many years. Here in Anatevka, we have traditions for everything. How to sleep all day long, I biddy-biddy-bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. If I were a biddy-biddy rich, idle-diddle-diddle man, I'd build a big tall house with rooms by the dozen right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof with the real wooden floors below. There would be one long staircase just going up, and one even longer coming down, and one more leading nowhere just for show. I'd fill my...
This is so weird though. Get